Have you ever caught yourself daydreaming about far-off places, imagining the thrill of exploring a new city, or feeling the warmth of the sun on your face in a tropical paradise, only to shake your head and think, oh, that's not for me anymore? If so, you're not alone. Many of us, especially as we get older, start to believe that traveling is something we've outgrown, that it's too complicated, too tiring, or just not worth the effort. But what if I told you that traveling after 70 can be easier, more enjoyable, and more rewarding than you ever imagined? The truth is, the world is more accessible than ever before, and age is no longer the barrier it once was. In fact, traveling later in life can be one of the most fulfilling experiences you'll ever have. You've got the time, the wisdom, and the freedom to truly savor every moment. And with a little planning and the right mindset, you can embark on stress-free adventures that leave you feeling energized, inspired, and maybe even a little younger. In this video, we're going to talk about why traveling after 70 is easier than you think, and I'll share 5 practical tips to help you plan your next adventure with confidence. Whether you're dreaming of a relaxing cruise, a cultural tour, or a quiet getaway in the countryside, these tips will help you make the most of your journey. So, let's get started. The first thing to keep in mind is that traveling doesn't have to mean roughing it. Gone are the days when you had to lug a heavy backpack across Europe or sleep in questionable motels. These days there are so many options designed with comfort and convenience in mind. For example, consider river cruises. They're a fantastic way to see multiple destinations without the hassle of constantly packing and unpacking. You can wake up in a new city every morning, enjoy guided tours tailored to your pace, and return to the comfort of your cabin at the end of the day. It's like having a floating hotel that takes you wherever you want to go. And if cruising isn't your thing, there are plenty of other ways to travel in comfort. Many tour companies now offer senior-friendly itineraries that include leisurely schedules, accessible accommodations, and even medical support if needed. The key is to choose a style of travel that suits your preferences and energy levels. Remember, this is your adventure, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. Now, let's talk about planning ahead. I know, planning might not sound like the most exciting part of traveling, but trust me, it can make all the difference. When you take the time to plan your trip carefully, you can avoid a lot of the stress and uncertainty that can come with traveling. Start by thinking about what kind of experience you want. Are you looking for relaxation, adventure, or a bit of both? Once you have a clear idea, you can start researching destinations and activities that align with your goals. One of the best ways to reduce stress is to book your accommodations and transportation in advance. This not only gives you peace of mind, but also allows you to take advantage of senior discounts and early bird deals. Many airlines, hotels, and tour operators offer special rates for travelers over 70, so don't be shy about asking. And if you're not comfortable planning everything yourself, consider working with a travel agent who specializes in senior travel. They can handle all the details for you, from booking flights to arranging airport transfers, so you can focus on enjoying your trip. Another important aspect of planning is managing your health while traveling. This might sound daunting, but it's really just about being prepared. Before you go, make sure to visit your doctor for a checkup and discuss any concerns you might have. If you take medication, pack enough to last the entire trip, plus a little extra just in case. It's also a good idea to bring a copy of your prescriptions and a list of any medical conditions or allergies, just in case you need to see a doctor while you're away. And don't forget about travel insurance. It might seem like an unnecessary expense, but it can be a lifesaver if something goes wrong. Look for a policy that covers medical emergencies, trip cancellations, and lost luggage. Many policies are specifically designed for seniors, so take the time to find one that meets your needs. Now that we've covered the importance of comfort, planning, and health, let's move on to another key tip: traveling light. I know how tempting it can be to pack everything but the kitchen sink, but trust me, less is more when it comes to travel. A heavy suitcase can be a real burden, especially if you're navigating airports, train stations, or cobblestone streets. Instead, focus on packing versatile, lightweight clothing that you can mix and match. Choose comfortable shoes that you've already broken in, and don't forget to leave a little room for souvenirs. If you're worried about forgetting something, make a checklist a few weeks before your trip and add to it as you think of things. And remember, most items can be replaced if you really need them, so don't stress too much about packing the perfect suitcase. The goal is to make your journey as easy and enjoyable as possible, and that starts with traveling light. So, there you have it, 3 tips to help you embark on stress-free adventures after 70. By focusing on comfort, planning ahead, and traveling light, you can set yourself up for a trip that's as relaxing as it is rewarding. But we're not done yet. In the next part, we'll dive into 2 more tips that will help you make the most of your travels, including how to embrace the journey and connect with others along the way. For now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you traveled recently, or are you planning a trip? What's your biggest concern when it comes to traveling after 70? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more tips and inspiration. Here's to your next great adventure, because the world is waiting, and it's never too late to explore it. Now that we've talked about the importance of comfort, planning ahead, and traveling light, let's move on to the next tip, which is all about embracing the journey. This might sound a little philosophical, but stick with me, it's one of the most important things you can do to make your travels truly meaningful. You see, when we're younger, we often rush from one destination to the next, trying to cram as much as possible into every trip. But as we get older, we have the luxury of slowing down and savoring the experience. Instead of focusing on ticking off a list of must-see attractions, take the time to really immerse yourself in the places you visit. Sit in a cafe and watch the world go by. Strike up a conversation with a local. Wander through a market and let your senses guide you. These are the moments that often become the most cherished memories. I remember a trip I took a few years ago to a small village in Italy. I had planned to visit all the famous landmarks in the area, but on my first day I stumbled upon a little bakery tucked away on a side street. The smell of fresh bread drew me in, and before I knew it, I was chatting with the owner, who insisted I try her homemade biscotti. That simple, unplanned encounter turned into one of the highlights of my trip. It reminded me that travel isn't just about seeing new places, it's about experiencing them. So, how can you embrace the journey? Start by giving yourself permission to slow down. If you're on a guided tour, don't feel pressured to keep up with the group if you need a break. If you're exploring on your own, build some flexibility into your schedule so you can linger in places that capture your heart. And don't be afraid to step off the beaten path. Some of the most rewarding experiences come from the unexpected detours. Another way to embrace the journey is to stay curious. Traveling is a wonderful opportunity to learn new things, whether it's a bit of history, a few words in another language, or a local tradition. Many destinations offer senior-friendly classes or workshops, from cooking lessons to art tours. These activities not only enrich your travel experience, but also give you a chance to connect with others who share your interests. Speaking of connecting with others, that brings us to our next tip: building connections while you travel. One of the most beautiful aspects of traveling is the people you meet along the way. Whether it's fellow travelers, locals, or even the staff at your hotel, these interactions can add so much depth and joy to your journey. If you're traveling solo, don't be afraid to strike up a conversation. You'd be surprised how many people are eager to share their stories or offer advice. I once met a woman on a train in Japan who not only helped me figure out the schedule, but also recommended a hidden hot spring that wasn't in any guidebook. That chance encounter turned a stressful moment into a delightful adventure. If you're more comfortable traveling with others, consider joining a group tour designed for seniors. These tours often attract like-minded individuals who are at a similar stage in life, making it easy to form friendships. And if you're traveling with a partner or friend, use the opportunity to strengthen your bond. Shared experiences, whether it's marveling at a breathtaking view or navigating a tricky situation, can bring you closer together. Of course, building connections doesn't always mean meeting new people. It can also mean reconnecting with yourself. Traveling gives you the chance to step away from your daily routine and reflect on your life, your goals, and your dreams. Take some time each day to journal, meditate, or simply sit quietly and soak in your surroundings. You might be surprised at the insights that come to you when you give yourself the space to listen. Now, let's talk about something that's often overlooked but incredibly important: staying safe while you travel. I know safety might not be the most exciting topic, but it's essential for ensuring your trip is as stress-free as possible. The good news is that staying safe doesn't have to be complicated. It's mostly about being aware and taking a few simple precautions. Start by researching your destination before you go. Look up any safety concerns, such as areas to avoid or common scams targeting tourists. It's also a good idea to register with your country's embassy or consulate, especially if you're traveling internationally. This can make it easier to get help if you need it. When you're out and about, keep your belongings secure. A crossbody bag with a zipper is a great option, because it keeps your hands free and makes it harder for pickpockets to access. Be mindful of your surroundings, especially in crowded places, and trust your instincts. If something doesn't feel right, it's okay to walk away. Finally, make sure someone back home knows your itinerary and how to reach you. Check in regularly, even if it's just a quick text or email. This not only gives you peace of mind, but also ensures that someone knows where you are in case of an emergency. By embracing the journey, building connections, and staying safe, you're setting yourself up for a travel experience that's not only enjoyable, but also deeply fulfilling. But we're not quite done yet. In the next part, we'll wrap up with 2 more tips that will help you make the most of your adventures, including how to handle unexpected challenges, and why it's never too late to start exploring. For now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever had a travel experience that completely changed your perspective? Or maybe you've met someone on your travels who made a lasting impression. Share your stories in the comments below. I can't wait to read them. And if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more tips and inspiration. Here's to your next great adventure, because the world is full of wonders, and they're waiting for you to discover them. We've covered a lot of ground so far, from embracing the journey and building connections to staying safe and traveling light. Now let's dive into the final 2 tips that will help you make the most of your adventures after 70. These are all about handling unexpected challenges and remembering that it's never too late to start exploring. Let's start with handling the unexpected. No matter how well you plan, travel has a way of throwing curveballs. Flights get delayed, the weather doesn't cooperate, or you might find yourself in a situation that's a little outside your comfort zone. But here's the thing. These challenges don't have to ruin your trip. In fact, they can often lead to some of the most memorable experiences if you approach them with the right mindset. The key is to stay flexible and keep a sense of humor. I remember a trip I took to Scotland where I had planned a scenic train ride through the Highlands. Unfortunately, the train was cancelled due to a sudden storm. At first I was disappointed, but then I decided to make the most of the situation. I ended up spending the day in a cozy little town, sipping tea by a fireplace and chatting with the locals. It wasn't what I had planned, but it turned out to be one of the most delightful days of the trip. So how can you handle unexpected challenges like a pro? First, always have a backup plan. If you're traveling to a place with unpredictable weather, for example, research indoor activities or alternative routes just in case. Second, pack a small emergency kit with essentials like snacks, a reusable water bottle, a portable phone charger, and any medications you might need. This can be a lifesaver if you find yourself stuck somewhere unexpectedly. And most importantly, don't be afraid to ask for help. Whether it's a fellow traveler, a hotel staff member, or a local, most people are happy to lend a hand if you're in a tricky situation. Remember, you're not alone. There's always someone who can help you navigate the unexpected. Now let's talk about something that's close to my heart. It's never too late to start exploring. I know it can feel intimidating to plan a trip, especially if it's been a while since you've traveled or if you've never done it on your own. But here's the truth. Every journey begins with a single step. You don't have to climb Mount Everest or backpack across Europe to have an adventure. Even a short trip to a nearby town or a weekend getaway can be incredibly rewarding. If you're feeling unsure, start small. Choose a destination that's easy to get to and doesn't require a lot of planning. Maybe it's a charming bed and breakfast in the countryside or a cultural festival in a nearby city. The goal is to build your confidence and remind yourself how much joy travel can bring, and don't let age hold you back. I've met so many inspiring travelers in their 70s, 80s, and even 90s who are proof that adventure has no expiration date. One of my favorite stories is about a woman in her late 80s who decided to take her first solo trip to Paris. She had always dreamed of seeing the Eiffel Tower, and she wasn't about to let anything stop her. She spent a week exploring the city, taking cooking classes and even making new friends along the way. When she returned home, she said it was one of the best experiences of her life. So if you've been putting off that dream trip, I encourage you to take the leap. Start by making a list of the places you've always wanted to visit and the experiences you've always wanted to have. Then take it one step at a time. Research your options, talk to people who've been there, and start making plans. Remember, this is your adventure, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. As we wrap up, let's take a moment to recap the key points we've covered. Traveling after 70 is easier than you think when you focus on comfort, plan ahead, and travel light. Embrace the journey by slowing down and staying curious, and don't forget to build connections along the way. Stay safe by being prepared and trusting your instincts, and handle unexpected challenges with flexibility and a sense of humor. And most importantly, remember that it's never too late to start exploring. The world is full of wonders, and they're waiting for you to discover them. Whether it's a grand adventure or a quiet escape, every trip is an opportunity to learn, grow, and create lasting memories. So what are you waiting for? Start planning your next adventure today. Before we go, I'd love to hear from you. What's the one place you've always dreamed of visiting, or maybe you've already taken a trip that changed your life? Share your stories and dreams in the comments below. I can't wait to read them. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more tips and inspiration. Here's to living your best life at any age and to the adventures that await you. Happy travels.